My beloved child, do not fall into slumber before hearing the truth I am about to speak. In just a moment, the veil of the past shall be torn apart, and you will see the true face of the one who once walked beside you. When the truth is revealed, your heart may grow heavy to the point of tears, yet those tears are but the waters that open the way to a new path. You once held tightly to hands you believed to be your refuge, only to find a cold emptiness instead. You once placed your whole heart in a love you thought was steadfast, yet it crumbled into silence and forgetfulness. And it is within that very breaking that you first began to hear my voice, the voice of the one who has never abandoned you. My child, I have witnessed the long nights when you tossed and turned, seeking answers in the dark. I have heard the labored breaths in the loneliness you kept hidden, as though no one could ever understand. But I was there listening, understanding, and keeping every tear you shed as testimony that you were never alone. You thought their leaving meant you were unworthy, but in truth, I was shielding you from a greater disaster. I took away what drained your soul so that you would not be emptied to exhaustion. Where you saw rejection, I saw the beginning of healing. What you called loss was my way of opening a road toward true peace. Yet, my child, not every departure comes from human weakness. Some faces appear like blessings, yet in reality they are sent by the enemy to draw you away from the light. He knows your heart is rich in kindness, so he disguises himself with sweetness, bringing people into your life who come only to take and never to give. And when you are depleted, he hopes you will even come to doubt me. Remember this, I do not overlook a single wound within you. Every stifled sob, every tear shed in the night I have seen and inscribed upon my heart. You thought yourself forgotten, yet in your weakest hour, I was the one who held your soul. Your pain is not meaningless. It is the threshold through which I lead you into healing, where darkness gives way to light and despair transforms into hope. My child, there were nights when you laid your head down in despair, believing the heavens were silent to your cries. You thought no one saw your shattered heart, but I was there beholding every tear that fell unseen. When you tried to hide your wounds, I looked deep into the places you dared not expose. You thought yourself abandoned, yet I was listening even to your faintest sigh in the empty room. The more you tried to flee, the closer I came, for I have never turned my back on your suffering. It was not betrayal alone that broke you, but the sense of being dismissed as though you had no worth. You agonized, wondering why genuine love was repaid with cold deceit. That sorrow seeped into your soul, causing you to doubt even yourself. But I saw it all, and I did not allow your heart to bleed in vain. I let you face the shadows, not to crush you, but to show you that your strength does not rest in the hands of another, but in mine alone. Do you know why you grew so weary? Because you poured your soul into a cracked vessel, hoping it would preserve purity, but the more you gave, the more it leaked away. You gave beyond your strength, forgave beyond your capacity, and hoped for what could never belong to you. I saw you straining to prove your worth through excessive sacrifice. Yet I tell you this, your value is not defined by those who hold it carelessly, but by me, the one who made you in my image. As I once declared, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out, and I have come down to rescue them. Exodus 3, 7, 8. I do not want you to keep asking yourself what you did wrong. It is not because you were not good enough, but because I see what is hidden in the human heart, things you could never know. You sought reasons to hold on, but I saw the ruin that awaited if you continued. I allowed them to leave, not to leave you desolate, but to protect the flame within you from being extinguished. You must understand, sometimes a departure is my holy intervention. Though it feels like a wound, it is truly your escape. My child, return to me. Do not seek answers in the eyes of others. I alone am the one who understands every pain, and only I can turn wounds into crowns of victory. Let me soothe your bleeding heart. Let me teach you the difference between true love and shadows. You need not exhaust yourself any longer clinging to what I have already removed. Release the hand that let you go long ago, for I have been holding yours from the very beginning. You think you have lost everything, but in truth you have only lost what hindered me from leading you into abundant life. Do not believe this darkness is the end. It is but a veil before the dawn of new light. You wept for what is past, but I will make you smile for what is to come. To see it you must let go of the illusion of abandonment. You must open your heart to know that when I take something away, it is because I am preparing to give you something greater, something no one else could ever offer. I know that in the moment they turned their back, your heart shattered into pieces. The emptiness made you believe you had lost your greatest treasure. Yet the truth is, I myself allowed that parting, for I saw dangers hidden from your sight. Had you clung tighter, you would have been drained day by day until your soul had no strength left to continue. I could not bear to see you decay that way, so I chose instead to cut away, preserving the life I had planted within you. There are relationships that appear as gifts, yet are burdens disguised upon your shoulders. You only saw the sweet promises, while I saw the restless heart, the wavering loyalty, the intentions already leaning toward betrayal. And so I closed that chapter, though I knew it would bring you to tears. Yet those tears are not wasted. They are the beginning of your discovery that I protect you, even when your heart does not yet understand. As the scripture has said, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways," Isaiah 5:5-8. You pleaded many times for me to make them stay, striving to prove your love through endless sacrifice. But you did not realize you were asking me to sustain something I never laid the foundation for. I never bless what will only deplete you. When I let them walk away, it was not a denial of your worth, but my protection so that the light within you would not be extinguished. You must believe this. Whatever I close, there is always a reason hidden in a love far greater than you can comprehend. If you cling to what has expired, you will only wound your heart further. I want you to understand that true love does not imprison, nor does it drive you into the fear of abandonment. What you lost was only a shadow, while what I have for you is light. To see it, you must release the hand that once held you lightly, so that your hands may be free to receive what is whole from me. That door closed, not because you were unworthy, but because I am opening another that leads to peace and freedom. Do not let regret cloud your sight. When they left, you thought you had lost all, but in truth you were freed from a bond that would have drained you dry. The emptiness you feel now is the very space I am preparing to fill with blessing. The pain of parting is not a sign of punishment, but the evidence of my love that kept you from a greater harm. When you grasp this truth, your heart will begin to heal, and your eyes will see the new dawn rising. Some things may look like blessings, but in truth they are traps carefully disguised. The enemy never comes with a monstrous face that you might recognize easily. He cloaks himself in gentleness, sweet words, and what seems to be genuine care. It is that disguise which deceives you into believing he is the answer to your prayers. Yet in reality, he is only laying upon you an invisible burden, draining you little by little and pulling you away from the peace I have given. The deceiver knows well the strengths within you: compassion, patience, and the longing to give and receive love, and he twists them into weaknesses to exploit. He sends people who only know how to take but never to give back, so that you are led to believe you must sacrifice a little more, try just once again. The deeper you go, the more weary your heart becomes, the more your soul longs for support, and when you are exhausted, he plants in your mind the thought that I have abandoned you. Remember this: the enemy cannot snatch you out of my hand, so he chooses instead to wear you down until you surrender yourself. He places near you those who cause you to doubt your worth, to forget that you were created with eternal dignity. The more you believe these false voices, the more he succeeds in dimming the sound of my voice within you. And that is his most subtle strategy, not to strike from without, but to make you slowly doubt the very light within. I have given you signs many times, the unease creeping in when you are near them, the joy that fades after every act of giving, the fatigue that lingers and makes prayer difficult. None of these are accidents. They are warnings I have planted in your spirit, so you may discern what is life and what is darkness disguised as light. You must learn to heed these warnings, for when you ignore them, the enemy gains another chance to bind you. Therefore, you must learn to stay awake, not allowing your tender heart to become soil for deception to take root. Love does not mean leaving the door open to anyone, especially to those who come only to exploit. You must test the spirits, watching not only the words spoken, but the life lived, the way they treat others. As you begin to discern truth from falsehood, you will walk in wisdom, and no longer be easily swept into cycles of pain. One truth you must understand: love does not mean allowing yourself to be used. The enemy once deceived you into thinking that kindness must be bound to blind acceptance. But true love is grounded in truth, and truth discerns between lifting others up and allowing yourself to be drained. Without boundaries, your heart becomes a field that anyone may trample. And then the peace I have given you will be slowly stolen, piece by piece. I have not taught you to close yourself off and grow cold, but I have taught you to guard the life I placed within you. There are some whom you must love from a distance, for too much closeness to them only leads to repeated wounds. Do not mistake saying no as a lack of love. In truth, it is wisdom that protects the flame of faith. When you know your limits, you will no longer so easily collapse under abuse, disguised as affection. When my son Jesus himself walked upon the earth, he did not entrust himself equally to everyone. He loved every soul, yet chose to walk closely with only a few disciples, and through them bore lasting fruit. This was not favoritism, but the wisdom of knowing the limits of his presence. If even my son set such boundaries, how much more must you guard your own heart? Holy boundaries do not harden you. They preserve and deepen the love within. Look back and see, every time you cast aside caution and gave yourself wholly to those who did not cherish you, the result was emptiness. Many times you stepped out of peace just to please them, and in the end it was you who bore the cost. That is why I teach you to discern, to be brave enough to build a sacred fence around your heart. No one but I has authority over the life within you. And when you keep it, you become a faithful steward of the treasure I entrusted to you. So do not let mercy become an excuse to forget yourself. The love I call you to show is not blind love, but love woven with wisdom. When you know how to say enough, it is not hardness, but faithfulness to my purpose for you. Remember this: I call you to walk in light, not in confusion. And that light shines only when you tend the flame of your lamp, rather than allowing anyone to extinguish it. You have learned to see truth clearly, to recognize subtle strategies, and to build boundaries for your heart. But all of this will mean nothing if you still cling to what I have already removed. There are names you still whisper in your mind, images you still replay, and dreams, questions you repeat within your soul. Know this: as long as you cling to the past, you cannot fully embrace the future I am placing before you. Letting go is not weakness, but the proof that you trust my hand. You often think that surrender means losing everything, yet you do not realize that when you open your hands to release, only then are you able to receive what I have prepared. What has left you can never compare to the blessings I am leading you toward. Believe that the life I give is abundant, not barren. Understand that the relationships from me will renew you, not drain you. For this to happen, you must leave the past in my hands instead of stirring it again in memory. I have seen you stand long before closed doors, knocking endlessly in hope that they might open again. But my child, that door is no longer yours, and the more you insist, the more you wound yourself. Walk on, for there are doors ahead already open, radiant with the glory I have reserved for you. Do not grieve over a path that is closed while you are called to step into a broader place where love and faithfulness are firmly founded. When you release, your heart will begin to heal. The tears of yesterday will become seeds of tomorrow's joy. The emptiness you feared will become the space I myself will fill with my presence. And then you will look back and smile, realizing that no loss was wasted in my hands. All was but a stepping stone, shaping your soul to contain the blessings I am about to pour out. You were not created to live in exhaustion, but to walk in new life, abundant and strong. Do not look back with regret. Lift up your head and see the path I am opening. The past is complete, and a new chapter is being written by my eternal love. Believe this: what you lost was only the shell, while what is real lies before you. And when you step into it, you will know that all I have done was for one reason only: to guard your soul until the day you dwell fully in eternal light. Tonight, before your eyes close in sleep, I plead with you to do one simple yet decisive act: release what has bound your soul for too long. Let go of the name that lingers in the shadows of memory. Release the old reels you keep replaying in search of a different ending. Lay down the questions of self-blame that weigh your heart like stone. close the vision of a future once, drawn with someone who turned away and ceased believing that your worth lies in another's hands. When you set down these burdens, you will hear my voice more clearly, the voice that has always whispered gently through every chill that has endured in soothing the tears left by years and lies. I have not come to tear your heart apart, but to unbind the invisible cords that have worn you from within. The truth I reveal is not a blade to wound you, but a key to unlock the latch so you may step into a place of light, fresh air and room for your soul to breathe. You once thought I was silent, but even in the moments when only the ticking clock seemed to remain, I was there beside you, counting each weary beat with you, waiting for the moment you would open your hand. I know that what hurts you is not only that someone walked away, but the feeling of being diminished, replaced, and drained until empty. You struggle to understand why something so beautiful collapsed as quickly as sand sliding down. You search for flaws in yourself to fix. You try to rearrange the pieces to fit back into a frame already shattered. Yet I have long seen what you could not. Some vessels are only lovely in their glaze, while inside lie cracks that run deep. Some smiles warm the surface but turn to cold winds by night. Some promises sound like hymns, yet are hollow as echoes in a cave. I would not allow you to remain bound to such things, for I love you too much to watch your soul wither day by day. When I close a path, it is not punishment, but the sealing of a silent leak. When I redirect, it is not abandonment, but to set you on solid ground. When I draw back my hand, it is because I am preparing to place in it something truer, deeper, more whole. Every tear you have shed is not wasted salt. I gather them, sow them into the soil of hope, and in due season they will bloom into peace. There is something you must realize in order to stop blaming yourself. Not all that seems sweet comes from me. The adversary does not arrive with a roar. He comes with whispers that please the ear, with the appearance of kindness, with signs that seem to fit. He exploits the strengths in you, your compassion, your loyalty, your longing to heal, and twists them into levers to pull you away from peace. He places beside you those who only take so you confuse love with depletion, patience with resignation, sacrifice with self-destruction. Each time you swallow your pain in silence, he rubs his hands. Each time you say just once more, he tightens the invisible cord another notch. I have stirred your heart with subtle warnings, the heaviness in your chest after a conversation, the difficulty in letting prayer pass your lips, the sudden dimming of joy, though outwardly all seemed fine. These alarms were not illusions. They were the bells I hung within you to urge you to leave the room already filling with smoke. I teach you to build boundaries, not so that your heart turns to stone, but so that your heart may remain a heart soft yet unbroken, burning yet not consumed. True love always walks hand in hand with truth, and truth always knows when to say enough. When you accept that no one has the right to intrude freely into the sacred space of your inner life, you have safeguarded the wellspring of your being. The one truly sent from me will tread gently, will honor silence at the right moment, will bow before what is holy. The deceiver will boast, will shift boundaries, and will treat your kindness as an endless reservoir. You owe no one the right to linger too near your soul merely so they may keep breaking it. Your only duty is to remain faithful to the light I placed within your chest. Do not fear being misunderstood as cold when you close the door against profane footsteps. Closing the door is not rejecting humanity. It is reverence for the one who dwells in the temple that is you. Now that you see the mask clearly and understand why I once forced certain doors shut, the next step is release. Release is not a reckless fling in anger. It is a profound ritual of trust. Imagine you are holding a stone, hard, heavy, cold, believing it to be a treasure. Your hand grows numb, your joints ache, your arm weakens, yet you cling to it in fear that letting go will leave you with nothing. I invite you now, loosen your fingers, let the weight fall, allow warmth and blood to flow again. Only when your hand is empty can you hold what is truly yours, something soft, alive, and warm. You have clutched the shadow for many years. Do not be surprised if your palm feels unfamiliar at first when it touches the real. The trembling will pass, and in its place will come the gentleness of peace. I want to say this tenderly: you have not lost. You have simply finished a chapter that no longer belongs to you. The chair at the old table is no longer yours, for you have outgrown its frame. I am setting a new table, spacious and bright, where your portion is not crumbs fallen to the ground, but a full meal prepared. You kept knocking at the old door, hoping it would open as before, but the hinges are broken, the beams are rotting, the fire has long gone out. To return would only choke you with dust and smoke. Turn your back on the collapsing house. Before you lies a narrow path widening into a road, and the dawn is stretching its light across the hill. Not everyone is ready to climb with you. Do not exhaust yourself dragging those who will not walk. You are not obliged to carry fallen trunks on your shoulders to prove that you know how to love. I know solitude is what you fear most after separation. Without conversation, without morning messages, without shared plans, the silence swells as if to swallow the room. But it is in that silence that you will hear me most clearly. I will teach you again the rhythm of breath. Inhale truth, exhale fear. Inhale grace, exhale obsession. I will return you to the basics you thought forgotten. A warm cup in your hands, sunlight through the curtain, the chirping of birds on the roof, a hymn softly sung. You will marvel at how the heart heals itself when no longer overburdened. I will reset your inner calendar, an hour for rest, a minute for thanksgiving, a moment for stillness. Upon this foundation you will stand steady, stepping forward without trembling. I also want you to change the way you speak of yourself. Do not call yourself abandoned, call yourself preserved. Do not say unchosen. Acknowledge that I chose you long before worry streaked your hair. Do not wear the labels hastily slapped on your forehead in someone's anger. In my eyes, you are the bearer of light, the light that warms the sincere and unsettles the lovers of darkness. You need not dim your radiance to make others comfortable. Those who love the light will adjust their eyes. Those who prefer the dark will turn away. In both cases, you remain who you are, a lamp on a stand, not hidden under a basket of fear. Soon I will bring new faces into your life. They will not overwhelm you with oaths, but they will be steady and quiet. They will not promise much, but each word they speak will carry weight. They will not demand proof, but they will honor you as you are. In their presence you will find it easier to pray, quicker to calm, freer to laugh. You will learn to receive without guilt, to give without being exploited, to correct without shame. These relationships will not be perfect, for none can love you as I do, but they will honor what I have placed within you. As you test the spirits, you will recognize good fruit, peace that lingers after the meeting, gratitude greater than frustration, horizons widened instead of closed. These are the signs I send so you may safely open your heart little by little. Do not be startled if the past revisits with a sweet memory. In my hands, memory loses its power to wound. It becomes a gentle teacher, reminding you how much you have grown. If ever a night wind sneaks through the door, just whisper, "My name." I will stand at the threshold with you until the wind dies down. You will no longer have to fight alone. I fight for you with weapons, unseen truth, as shield mercy, as armor hope, as helmet. You need only stand firm in what you already know. You belong to me. I am with you, and no one can take away what I have set aside for you. Those who betrayed you did not appear in your life by accident, nor were they merely a meaningless blemish in your story of love. They entered like actors in a staged play, and behind the curtain lay a cunning design. The enemy who has stalked you long already knew your tender spots, your unfilled gaps, your unmet desires. Through these fissures he ushered in people who looked just right. He knew how to cloak them with care, how to make their words touch your need, how to create the illusion that this was heaven's answer. And you, in your sincerity, opened the door without suspicion that behind it stood a calculating hand. But understand this, I still reigned. I still permitted it for a time, not to see you collapse, but so you might discern what is genuine light and what is but a false reflection. He cannot snatch you from my hand, for I sealed your soul before you were born. Yet he is skilled at slowing your steps, at draining your strength, at dimming your flame of faith by tying you to consuming bonds. Have you noticed how, after pouring yourself out to preserve a connection, you end up emptier, more weary, and farther from me? This is his strategy: erosion from within, not assault from without. Like one who waits for a tiny crack in the wall to widen, he slips in to undermine the whole structure. You did not fall from a single blow, but from thousands of small cuts, until your soul no longer had strength to resist. And it was then he whispered that I had abandoned you, that you were unworthy, that you would never truly be loved. I allowed you to go through this experience because I wanted to open your eyes to see clearly how he operates. I wanted you to understand that not everything that comes near is a blessing, and not everyone who smiles at you carries pure intentions. Some may truly believe they love you, yet in truth their hearts are bound by chains they refuse to release. And if I did not intervene, you would continue pouring out your life into those who never intended to return it. You must learn discernment to listen to the prompting of the Spirit, for my peace will always be the measure. A relationship that comes from me will not sow unending confusion in your soul, will not keep you living in fear of loss, and will never draw you away from the source of life, which is me. The deepest pain is not betrayal itself, but the feeling of having been deceived by what you once thought was genuine. Yet understand this as well, it is also a lesson I prepared for you, to learn not to judge everything merely by what your eyes see or your ears hear. You must learn to look at the fruit, to look at how a person lives, to look at what remains after they are gone. If all that remains is emptiness and exhaustion, then it was not a gift from me. The enemy has used your compassion to bind you, for he knows you are quick to forgive and eager to believe in the goodness of others. But from this day on, remember, forgiveness does not mean handing over continued access to the depths of your soul, and love does not mean giving anyone permission to touch the core that I, myself, placed within you. I do not blame you for trusting too much, for that gentleness itself is a beautiful quality I have placed within you. But I want you to grow in wisdom to know that love must be joined with discernment, wisdom to realize that sacrifice alone is not always enough, for there are sacrifices that only feed another's selfishness. Wisdom to see that I never call you to empty yourself to the point of ruin, but to love within the boundaries I set, so that love may remain preserved and fruitful. When you walk in this wisdom, you will no longer so easily fall into the snares the enemy has woven through the years. Remember this, every time he sends someone who does not belong to you, his aim is not merely to wound you, but to steal your focus away from the work I entrusted to you. He knows that when your heart is full of hurt, it is harder for you to hear my voice. When you are exhausted, you will pray less. When you are burdened with disappointment, you will hesitate to walk in your calling. And that is exactly what he wants, not to snatch you away completely, but to delay you, to paralyze you, to slow your steps on the path I have ordained. That is why you must remain awake. Do not only ask, do they make me happy, but ask, does their presence draw me closer to God? If after being with someone your faith grows stronger, your prayers go deeper, and your courage rises higher, then that is a sign that I am at work. But if after every encounter your soul feels weary, your heart grows discouraged, and your joy runs dry, then understand that is not from me. You must learn to step back, to dare to close the door, even if it feels painful, even if it leaves a void. For when you cling tightly to what is false, you may unknowingly miss the true gift I am preparing to send. The enemy always wants you to choose the shadow and pass over the light. And hear me, do not fear when I allow unmasking to take place. Sometimes I let the mask fall right before your eyes, so that you may see you had placed your trust in the wrong place. The pain in that moment is real, yet it is also the medicine. For through it, you learn to awaken, to test, and to value my presence. Each time you face a harsh truth, another layer of armor is added, making you stronger against the enemy's next schemes. And through that very process, I am shaping you into maturity, so that when the true blessing comes, you will know how to cherish it, protect it, and give thanks to me more than ever before. So, cease blaming yourself. Cease spinning in circles with the question, why did I let this happen? Instead, recognize that it was the school I permitted you to enter, a school that is not easy but necessary to prepare you for the long road ahead. You did not fail because you were betrayed. You only fail if you let that betrayal harden your heart, make you bitter, or close your soul to new love. You are called to step out of the shadows, not to remain forever trapped in suspicion. Therefore, stand firm. Do not let your wounds become chains. Do not let the traps of the enemy hinder your steps. Remember, I still hold your hand even when everything feels like it is shaking. Trust that every time a door closes, I am protecting you from being drained and opening the way into new life. Do not let the past become a prison. Let it become a lesson. For when you are willing to let go of what is false, you will see the true blessing waiting just ahead. And that is how I turn every dark scheme into the foundation for your strength, your clarity, and your freedom in my love. O tender soul, have you not yet realized that not every presence in your life comes from the light? There are faces you thought were the answer to desperate prayers, but in truth, they were carefully laid snares. The enemy is never foolish enough to walk into your life in frightening form, for if he did, you would immediately run to me. Instead, he clothes himself in kindness, speaks the words you long to hear, gives you the sense of being seen, cherished, and needed. And you, out of your deep thirst for love and belonging, opened your heart and believed it was sent by me. But in reality, it was the disguise of darkness dressed as light, slowly pulling you away from the true source of life. At first, you felt comforted as though this person truly understood your hidden sorrows. They arrived at just the moment of your weakness, making you believe it was a divine appointment. Their conversations made you laugh, their promises lit up hope, all carefully crafted so you would believe this bond was enduring. Yet the enemy never cared to give you life. He only wanted to turn that initial gentleness into an intoxicating drug, making you dependent, making you fling wide open the gates of your soul where he could quietly plant seeds of exhaustion. He did not come with violence but with sweetness, not by force but by enticing you to give yourself willingly. You thought you were being lifted, but in truth you were being drained piece by piece of strength, drop by drop of faith, ray by ray of light within your soul. He did not hand you poison in a crude vessel, but mixed it in honey so that you drank without suspicion. And by the time the toxin had taken hold, you found your peace no longer whole, but it was already too late to easily escape. I saw it all. I warned you many times, with small signals. Do you remember the nights when you lay down and your heart suddenly felt restless with no clear reason? Do you recall the moments when instead of peace after conversation you felt drained? Do you recall the times your spirit longed to pray, yet the words would not come? Those were the bells I rang to alert you. Yet in your desperate grasp for what you thought was love, you ignored those gentle whispers. You dismissed the unease as vague fear when in truth it was my voice softly speaking to protect you. The enemy knows your weaknesses well. He observes, remembers, and patiently waits for the right moment to strike. He knows you are compassionate, easily moved, and always willing to forgive. He exploits the very qualities I have placed within you, turning them into snares. When you see someone weak, you long to lift them up. When you see someone lost, you yearn to guide them. And so you give without ceasing, unaware that you are pouring water into a vessel with no bottom. Sooner or later you will be emptied, and that is precisely what he desires. A weary soul doubting its worth and shaken before my voice of judgment. But let me make this clear to you. True love does not drain your soul. Those whom I send will not lead you into confusion, but will uphold you, pray with you, and build alongside you. Relationships from me will bear fruit and bring renewal, while those from the enemy will only wither. He wants you to believe that every bond is the same, that all love comes with pain, until you shut your heart so tightly that you no longer dare to open even to what is true. If you allow that lie to take root, you will unwittingly close the door to the blessings I have prepared. You must learn to discern not only with your natural eyes, but through the illumination of the Holy Spirit. Do not merely listen to words, but watch how they live. Do not judge by outward care, but ask whether they draw you closer to me or pull you away. After you have been with them, is your spirit at peace or troubled and restless? If you pause long enough to ask these questions, you will soon trace the marks of deception. The enemy can never hide forever. In time, the mask will crack and the darkness will be revealed. I do not want you to fear everyone who comes into your life, but I do want you to be vigilant. Even in Eden, the first temptation came not by sword, but by a question that seemed harmless. He has never changed his strategy to sow doubt, to distort truth, and to make poison appear desirable. When you naively accept, you open the door for him to enter. But remember, a door once opened can be closed again, and the key is always in your hand. So do not hesitate to say no when your heart warns that something is not right. Do not force yourself to keep someone out of fear of loneliness. Loneliness can lead you to me, but the wrong relationship will drive you from me faster than you think. I want you to be brave enough to let go even when your hands tremble, for sometimes release is the greatest act of obedience. Do not let the enemy succeed simply because you are afraid of emptiness for a moment. I myself will fill that space with my presence. You must believe that I love you more than anyone else ever could. And my love is nothing like the shallow affection you may have received from the world. My love is steadfast, unchanging, not based on what you can do, but on the worth I have placed within you. The enemy wants you to forget this, to believe that you are only worthy of broken love. But rise up, look to me, and remember that you were destined to receive a whole and perfect love, not fragments. Stay awake, for this battle is not only about emotions, but the very safety of your soul. When you choose to close your eyes to the truth, you not only endanger your heart, but you delay the calling I have given you. The enemy wants to entangle you in cycles of toxic attachment, so that you have no strength left for the greater purpose I ordained. Do not let him succeed. You were called to walk in strength, not in depletion. You were created to shine, not to be drained. I declare to you today, rise up and discern clearly. Hold on to wisdom. Do not let sweet words blur the substance of truth. Consider the fruits a relationship bears. Does it draw you nearer to me, or does it lead you further away? Listen to the voice of the Holy Spirit within, for he is the one who warns and guides your every step. If you learn to listen, you will no longer be easily deceived by disguises. You will walk in freedom, no longer enslaved to false bonds. My child, be assured of this: darkness may pretend for a while, but light will always uncover truth. And when light comes, what was hidden will be exposed. I desire that you awaken sooner, so that you need not pay with years of weariness. Guard your heart, for from it flows the wellspring of life. Trust in me, for I never change, and my love is your safest refuge. When the first glimmer appeared, you thought it was the dawn, but in truth it was only a fleeting spark in the night. That person came as a reflection of your longing, making you believe they were the answer to your desire. They offered gentle words, painted an image that seemed perfect, and for a while you forgot the emptiness gnawing within. You gave wholeheartedly, you poured out freely, believing your giving would be met with genuine love. Yet when the fog lifted, you saw that what seemed like life had become a blade cutting deeply into your soul. They came not to nourish, but to drink dry the pure stream within you. And when that stream waned, they demanded more, as though your very being existed only as a reservoir for their endless taking. At times you wondered why you felt so weary, even while standing beside the one who once made you laugh. You did not realize the smile had become a mask while your heart lay broken. They no longer upheld you, but dragged you into unseen whirlpools where you struggled just to sustain a connection already rotting within. I saw every sigh you stifled, every moment. You denied the intuition that something was wrong. I knew how you reassured yourself, reasoning that if you were more patient, if you loved more, if you sacrificed a little further, things would change. But the truth is, nothing changed except that your heart grew heavier and the light in your eyes dimmer. You gave as though you were limitless, yet they only took, never cherishing the treasure they held. When one only takes without any intent to give, that is no longer a relationship but consumption. You are a radiant candle, yet they did not use your light to walk the path, they only drew warmth for their own coldness. And as the candle grew shorter, instead of replenishing oil, they stood watching you burn out, even blaming you when your flame no longer shone brightly enough. You did not see that you were trapped in a toxic game where you were merely a source of supply and they the ones who benefited. This is the truth you once avoided. They never intended to journey with you. They only sought a place to fill the void within their soul, and you, innocent in love, became the victim. But my child, hear this. Such emptiness can never be satisfied by what you give. That hollow space cannot be filled by human affection, but only healed when they truly return to me. You are not the Savior. You cannot become salvation for anyone. You are called to love, but not created to be drained to emptiness. The truth is, the more you give into an unhealthy bond, the further you drift from the abundant life I prepared. You forget that my love does not suffocate, does not rob your peace, does not cause you to doubt yourself. True love does not make you smaller. It strengthens you because it reflects my love. You have prayed many times for me to bless that relationship, but I cannot bless what does not carry my essence. You thought you were protecting something precious, but in truth you were clinging to a sinking stone dragging you down. I had to cut it away to rescue you from complete drowning. You did not understand, so you wept, feeling betrayed, abandoned, but I was standing in that very void, holding you back before the abyss consumed you. You must know that their departure was my hand at work, not to wound you, but to save your soul from ruin. I still remember the times I tried to find excuses for them, that they were busy, that they were under pressure, that they were not yet mature enough. I thought if I could just be more patient, things would be different. But the truth is, when a heart does not want to give, every reason is nothing but an excuse. I gave everything I had to keep them close, but I knew that if it went on, there would be nothing left of me but brokenness. In that moment, I chose to cut it away like a gardener pruning a dead branch to save the whole tree. You only saw the pain of the shears, but I could see the blossoms to come. When a connection becomes a burden instead of a support, that is the moment you must stop and realize that I never called you to live drained and depleted. I have called you to walk in abundant life, in joy and strength, not to drag yourself through heaviness and despair. You must remember that the love I give always leads to peace. When you move away from peace, it means you are walking in the wrong direction. Ask yourself, why do you always feel empty after being with them? Why does joy fade? Why does hope die away? These questions are the ringing bell warning you that this was never what I sent. Now I want you to understand that letting go is not failure, but an act of trust. You must release so that your hands are no longer bound, so you can receive what I am preparing for you. Do not fear the emptiness, for emptiness is the very space where I plant the seed of new life. Do not fear loneliness, for loneliness is where I whisper things to your heart that no one else can hear. Do not fear the darkness, for darkness is only the backdrop against which my light shines brighter. Today I call you to step out of that draining cycle. Do not cling to what I have already removed. Do not measure the future by the standards of the past. Lift up your eyes, for I am preparing new connections for you, where love is not one-sided, where presence brings freshness, where words are sources of strength and not weight. You will see that what is to come far surpasses what you once held. I never take away without giving again, and what I give is always greater, always overflowing beyond measure. Believe that depletion is no longer your destiny. The enemy used that strategy to exhaust you, but I turn it into wisdom for your future. From now on, when you encounter a relationship that drains instead of builds, you will see the signs and know when to stop. You will know that your peace is worth more than any presence, and the life within you cannot be given away carelessly. You will walk with eyes open, with a steadfast heart, and with the confidence that I am leading you into something better. So let the past fall away like petals dropping to the ground. It has fulfilled its purpose. You no longer need to hold it. Let me write a new chapter where you are no longer emptied but filled, where the love you give is cherished and your faithfulness is met with faithfulness in return, where you will realize that what you thought was loss was in truth only preparation for blessings beyond your imagination. There is a truth you must see. Not everyone who enters your life is sent to support or walk with you. Some come like a passing breeze, leaving only a surface warmth, but inside carrying seeds of destruction. The enemy used them as vessels cracked and broken, so that when you poured in love, trust, and strength, it all leaked away, leaving nothing but emptiness. You once believed your love could transform them, but the truth is, they never intended to change. They did not come to walk with you in the light, but to exploit that light for their own darkness. Such people never valued the sacred things I placed within you. Your sincere heart, your faithfulness, your pure trust, the radiant light of your soul. To them, these were nothing but energy to feed their own lack. They never saw your true worth, only what they could take from you. When you prayed for them, they received it as if it were their right. When you encouraged them, they absorbed it as if it were an obligation. When you stayed by their side, they treated your presence as a given blind to the sacrifice behind it. They grew accustomed to taking without ever thinking of giving. Do you remember how the weariness wore you down? At first, you felt called to love, to sacrifice, to forgive. But the deeper you went, the more you realized you were fighting alone. Your body grew tired, your spirit faded, your soul felt drained, drop by drop. The joy that once shone brightly in you became foreign. The prayers that once flowed naturally turned heavy and choked until you barely had the breath to speak. The vision I had planted in you for the future blurred and faded like a painting whose colors were washed away by storms. The danger was not only in the exhaustion, but in the silent shift of how you saw yourself. The enemy used these relationships to plant lies in your heart, that you were not enough, that your love was wasted, that you would always be used and abandoned. He knew that if you believed these lies, you would close your heart, too afraid to step into the new connection I had truly prepared for you. And once you doubted your worth, he no longer needed to steal you away, for you had already locked yourself in chains of fear. I know how many nights you lay awake replaying every word, every action of theirs, trying to find where you went wrong. You ask yourself, if only I had loved more, forgiven more, been less demanding, maybe they would have stayed. But you did not see that nothing you could have done would ever hold someone who never intended to keep you. Their heart had long been elsewhere, yet you kept tormenting yourself, hoping that just a little more effort might bring a miracle. My beloved, the truth is, you did not fail. They simply were never willing to remain. When a relationship is from me, it refreshes you, strengthens you, and draws you closer to my presence. But when a relationship is planted by the enemy, it only drains you, isolates you, and pulls you further away. This is the measure you must remember. A right connection will never make you doubt. My voice never weigh you down so heavily that prayer becomes hard, never rob you of the joy that is already yours. On the contrary, it will encourage you, stir you to pray more, and clarify the vision of your future. I allowed you to walk through this, not to crush you, but to teach you boundaries, to train you to listen to the leading of my spirit. You must understand that love does not mean opening wide the door of your heart to everyone. There are some who must remain outside the fence you build, receiving your love through prayer, not through deep presence. You must learn to guard your soul, for the life I entrusted to you is a precious treasure, not something to be touched by anyone at will. Do you remember the last time you felt truly joyful, free, and full of hope? Before that relationship pulled you into exhaustion, you once sang with gladness, prayed with passion, eagerly waited for what I was about to do. But little by little that freshness was eroded. In its place came fear of abandonment, anxiety of not being enough, and endless weariness. That was the moment the enemy's plan was succeeding, not by striking you down in one fatal blow, but by dimming your light until only ashes remained. But my child, I will not allow him to prevail. Even when you collapse, I am still beside you to lift you up. Even when you weep until no tears are left, I catch every drop and turn them into seeds of healing. I let you see the truth about imposters so that you will no longer be deceived again. I let you taste pain so that you may learn to discern what is genuine love and what is only a shadow. And I am bringing you out of that weary cycle, leading you into a new life where relationships will bear fruit instead of withering away. Therefore, do not grieve anymore. What has been lost was never the best part of you, but a burden I have taken away. You have not been diminished by their departure. Rather, you have been set free to receive what truly belongs to you. My love for you is never like the shallow affections of the world. It does not abandon, it does not betray, it does not exploit. It is patient, steadfast, and always seeks what is best for your soul. If you trust in this love, you will no longer cling to false things. Let me restore you. Let me refill the joy that has run dry. Let me illuminate again the vision that has grown dim. And when you are healed, you will realize that everything that has happened was never meant for your destruction, but for your preparation. You will walk in wisdom, in strength, and in freedom. You will no longer be one who is drained, but one who carries life. You will no longer doubt my voice, but hear it clearer than ever. You will no longer fear the darkness, for you will know that my true light never fades. It was never mere coincidence, nor simply misfortune in life. You must understand that there are people who enter your path not to bring life, but to pull you away from the way I have set before you. They are like leaking vessels. You keep pouring in your goodness, your trust, and your love, yet everything slips away and nothing remains. At first glance, you think you are sowing seeds, but in truth you are being drained until one day your soul is exhausted and empty. And when your inner being has become hollow, you no longer have the strength to resist the next assaults. The enemy is never satisfied with causing only a few emotional wounds. His ultimate goal is to bring down your soul, to strip you of the firm foundation I have built in you. He wants you to believe you have no worth, that all I have ever spoken is no longer true. He wants to sow doubt in your mind, so that every time you hear my call, you question whether it is really my voice or just an illusion of your own making. Once you are unsure of my voice, he can easily lead you further away, pushing you into confusion until you bind yourself with the chains of despair. There are days when you feel meaningless, questioning the very purpose of your life. That is the moment the enemy's schemes are working. He does not need swords or spears to destroy you. He only needs to wear you out, to make you doubt, to convince you that no one stands with you. He wants you to believe that people only come to use you, that no one is genuine, that even I might abandon you. That is his most venomous blow, planting in your heart the thought that the one who created you, the one who loves you with everlasting love, is no longer trustworthy. When you allow that doubt to grow, your heart instinctively builds walls. You begin to retreat, unwilling to open up to anyone, even to the gifts I send for your healing. You reject true friendship for fear of repeated pain. You turn away real love for fear of being forsaken again. You even shut out my voice because you have become too accustomed to suspicion. And so, exactly as planned, the enemy succeeds. He does not need to drag you into hell at once. He only needs you to doubt enough to sever your connection with the source of life, and then you will wither little by little. But my child, I never let such things unfold without warning. I always plant within you small yet clear signals, a nameless unease, a recurring dream, a persistent urging to leave a whisper in your spirit, urging caution. You have heard them, yet many times you brush them aside because you wish to hold on to a sweet illusion rather than face the bitter truth. I do not blame you, for I know your heart longs for love. But now I want you to learn to stop, to listen, and to discern. When you keep pouring into that leaking vessel, not only is your love wasted, but also your time and spiritual strength are drained. The longer you stay in a distorted relationship, the further you drift from the work I have called you to. You are pulled away from service, away from focus on my kingdom, only to devote all your energy to preserving something that was never yours to begin with. And that is the true malicious aim, to knock you off course, so that the mission I gave you is delayed or even buried. Remember the days when you were so weary you could no longer pray. Recall the mornings when you awoke without joy, without dreams, only to face a sky of gray. That was not ordinary gloom. It was the result of binding yourself to something not of me. When you let your life be drained away from the true source, sooner or later, you will feel as though you are dying inside. Yet you must know I was never far. Even in your weakest moment, I was waiting to bring you back. O beloved soul, do not think that what you lost is the whole story. In truth, what you lost was only sweetened chains in disguise. That so-called love did not uplift. It was merely a cord keeping you bound under the enemy's control. I allowed it to break, not to cause you pain, but to shatter the snare that held you. Every tear you shed was not in vain. They washed your eyes, so you might see truth more clearly. Remember this: the fracture is not the end. The loss is not a failure. They are only the beginning of a rebirth I have prepared. If you will believe, you will see that the very emptiness becomes the space I will fill with peace, with joy, and with true freedom. But that can only happen when you cease to cling to the past, when you stop pouring into the leaking vessel. You must find the courage to draw your hand back, to boldly declare enough, and begin a new chapter in your journey with me. The enemy wants you to believe you have lost everything, but in truth you have only lost what was never worthy to remain. You still have value, you still have calling, you still have my unfailing love. You are not an abandoned soul, but a child being set free. Stand tall, wipe away your tears, and look ahead, for before you lies the bright future I have already laid out. Do not let old wounds hinder your steps into the new land. I know it will not be easy. I know each letting go pierces your heart, but a single pain that brings freedom is better than endless pain in chains. You do not need to prove your worth by giving until you are emptied. Your worth has been sealed by me before your first cry. No one can take it away, and no one has the right to redefine it. Only I, the Creator, hold the final word over your life. Therefore, step out of the weary cycles. Do not heed the whispers that say you are useless, unworthy, unloved. Those are only the echoes of one already defeated. The truth is that you are loved with an eternal love, and no betrayal can ever diminish it. I have seen, I have heard, I have known, and now I call you back. Lay your whole heart in my hands where it has always been safest. How many times in the past you thought your suffering was merely an accident, a small scratch on life's path? But I want you to look deeper to see the true picture. The enemy has never missed a chance to observe you. He watches how you open your heart, how readily you give, how innocently you trust, and he remembers it all. He does not hurry, he does not strike with great wounds, but he lurks waiting for you to reveal a weakness, then quietly repeats the same trick in different forms. Faces change, names change, circumstances change, yet the essence of his strategy has never changed. Do you remember those first days when you entered into a relationship with the naive belief that if you simply loved sincerely, everything would be returned to you? You thought that sacrifice would move others, that loyalty would keep them, that forgiveness would transform them. But the enemy took advantage of that very longing in you. He knew you had a heart that wanted to heal others' wounds to make them feel loved and valued. He knew you often saw potential more than reality, and from there you easily turned a blind eye to the warning signs. You gave believing that love could change everything, but you did not realize that love, if placed in the wrong hands, becomes a blade that turns back and wounds the one who offers it. He once used people who wore the appearance of kindness to draw near, planting in you the belief that at last you had found someone who truly cherished you. Yet when you lowered your defenses, when you handed over the key to your heart, that was the very moment you were hurt the deepest. He was never in a hurry. He let you enjoy the sweetness at the beginning, allowed you to relax your guard, and then slowly broke your trust piece by piece. Not with one great blow, but with 100 tiny cuts that left you weary, confused, and questioning your own worth. I know you have looked back and said, why again and again do I fall into the same thing? You thought you were too weak, not wise enough to avoid it. But I tell you the truth, what you call weakness is not failure, but proof that you carry an open heart. It is compassion, loyalty, and the longing to heal that made you a target. He does not waste his time on the hardened or selfish, because with them he has nothing to do. He aims at those like you, the ones carrying the flame of true love, because he knows if he can extinguish you, the darkness will devour many other souls who were meant to be lifted by your light. Remember, there was a time when you gave everything to someone you thought would walk with you to the end of the road. You stayed up nights listening to them, sacrificed opportunities just to be at their side, placed their happiness above your own. But in the end they left, leaving behind only a cold emptiness within you. And in that moment the enemy whispered, "You are not lovable. You are just excess abandoned." You believed that lie, and it took root deep within your soul. That is his true strategy, not only to hurt you through others, but to make you doubt my love for you. But let me share a secret, what he intended to use to destroy you, I am turning into a weapon to make you stronger. Your wounds do not strip away your worth, they make you wise. With each betrayal, you learn more clearly how to discern the genuine from the false. With each time you are used, you understand more deeply who truly deserves your presence. And each time you thought you had lost everything, I stepped in to show you that the one thing that never changes is my love. I am teaching you that not every door that opens is one I have opened. Some doors are placed as a test to see whether you will listen for my voice or chase after illusions. You must know that not everyone who comes toward your light seeks to be illumined. Some only come to benefit from your glow, but when it no longer serves their gain, they walk away. That is not your fault. It is the sign that your goodness must be stewarded with wisdom. Even my son, when he walked the earth, did not entrust himself to all. He taught the multitudes, but he chose 12 to be near. Among the 12 he went deeper with 3. He loved everyone, yet he did not grant unrestricted access to the innermost circle of his heart. This is the pattern I want you to learn. To love does not mean everyone has the right to touch the deepest parts of your soul. Wisdom is not opposed to love. It is the wall that protects love from being twisted. The enemy seeks to turn your strength into weakness, but I will make it your shield and your sword. A heart of compassion is a treasure, but when placed rightly, it brings life instead of exhaustion. Loyalty is a weapon, but only when loyal to what I build does it bear fruit. The desire to heal is a gift, but it must flow from the life I provide, not from your own depleted strength. When you let my love be the source, you will not run dry, for you will give out of abundance, not from what little remains. You must look back on the years and see that you have not failed. You have been trained. I am sharpening your eyes to distinguish true light from false light. I am training your ears to recognize my voice above the whispers of the enemy. I am molding your heart so it remains tender, yet no longer easily manipulated. This wisdom does not come from books nor from worldly knowledge, but from the very experiences you have endured. My child, let the past become your teacher, not your chain. Do not let your wounds harden you into suspicion of all. Instead, let them make you wiser, stronger, and closer to me. The enemy wants you to close your heart and fear to love again. But I want you to keep on loving only now with discernment, with open eyes, with a fullness that flows not from lack. When you walk in this truth, the very things that once knocked you down will become the foundation on which you stand firm. So do not blame yourself for having trusted wrongly. Do not regret that you gave much. Do not feel ashamed for being used. These things do not define you. They are the tools I have used to teach you. From now on, you will not walk with a drained heart, but with a heart replenished. You will love, but also guard the wellspring within you. You will give, but also set boundaries. You will forgive, but not return the keys to those who cannot be trusted. That is the wisdom I am sowing in you. And one day when you look back, you will see that everything the enemy meant to harm you, I have turned into stepping stones for your growth. You will be grateful even for the wounds, because through them you have learned to hear my voice more clearly. You will no longer fear when a door closes, for you will understand that not every door is the path I have chosen. You will walk in peace, certain that my love for you is the most unshakable foundation beyond the reach of any force. And when you stand in that wisdom, the enemy will no longer so easily bind you with his worn-out strategies. Tonight I want you to engrave this truth in your heart. Love is not a free ticket for anyone to come and take what is most precious from you. The love I give is a holy flame, not a torch for anyone to grasp and then discard when warmed enough. You once thought opening your heart without measure was noble, but I tell you, love without discernment turns your soul into trampled ground. Some footsteps arrive lightly but leave behind calloused scars and barren fields. I do not want you to fall into that cycle again. I need you to see that boundaries do not make you cold. They are the walls protecting the life I have carefully placed within you. A love without boundaries is like a city without gates. Anyone may enter and leave, and before long its treasures are plundered. My child, the enemy knows well that he cannot sever the bond between you and me with one swift stroke. He never had that power, for my hand has sealed your life. So he chooses the slower, more cunning way, surrounding you with twisted voices, with relationships that seem harmless, with sweet words devoid of spirit. He does not push you into the pit at once. He removes the stones beneath your feet until at last you realize you stand on fragile ground shaken by the smallest breeze. He does not need to appear openly. It is enough for him to sow confusion, endless demands, and faces that need you yet never build you. Remember, the devil is a master of disguise. He knows what you long for. He knows your deep desire to be seen and cherished, and for that very reason he sends figures who seem to fulfill those yearnings. At first they speak words that make you tremble with emotion. At first they listen to what you cannot share with anyone else. At first they make you believe you have finally found a safe harbor. Yet soon after you find yourself exhausted, your heart heavy as stone, every conversation draining your very life. You do not recognize it immediately because he knows how to wrap poison in honey. That is how he confuses you, blurring the line between true love and distorted dependence. I have seen you cling desperately to such relationships. You thought love meant giving until nothing was left, that sacrifice was proof of loyalty. But you did not realize that in those very moments you were stripping yourself of the breath I gave you in order to sustain something that was never from me. I never called you to sacrifice peace in order to preserve a twisted attachment. I never placed upon your shoulders the burden of healing every heart you encounter. That is my work, not yours. When you step beyond that boundary, you turn love into a chain of bondage, and the enemy rejoices to see you binding yourself. When you grow weary, you begin to believe you have no worth. You think, if only I were stronger, gentler, more patient, then perhaps everything would be different. But the truth is, nothing you do can change someone who refuses to change. You are not the problem, nor are you the solution. You are simply my child, created to reflect light, not to be drained by the shadows. The more you pour into such relationships, the more empty you become. And that is the very purpose of the enemy, to drain you until you no longer have strength to pray, to walk, or to believe in my calling. Ask yourself this: after being with them, do you feel peace or do you feel anxious? After sharing, do you feel light or weighed down, exhausted and confused about who you are? This is the measure to discern what is from me and what is bravanto. Decide. The more you pause to listen to the stirrings within, the more you will recognize which voice comes from light and which from darkness. I have placed these signs within your soul, but in your clinging, you have ignored them. Now I ask you to stop. Take a deep breath and face the truth. Not everyone who enters your life has been sent by me. There are those the enemy sends for one purpose, only to delay. He knows he cannot destroy my calling for you, so instead he slows you down, distracts you, drains your strength in fruitless pursuits. You do not see the waste immediately, but as time passes you realize months, even years, have been lost to things that did not bring you closer to me. That is his victory. He does not need to drag you into the pit. Keeping you running in circles in the desert is enough to make you miss the door I have prepared. I do not want you to fall into that trap again. Tonight I need you to recognize this: love and overextension are not the same. Love gives, but it does not deplete you. Love sacrifices, but such sacrifice is sustained by me and bears fruit. Overextension only withers you, leaving you an empty vessel. I call you to love others, but I also call you to love yourself, for you are my temple. You cannot allow anyone to trample that temple and treat it as if it were nothing. When you begin to set boundaries, you will feel guilty at first. You will fear being thought unkind, misunderstood, or called selfish. But remember, boundaries are not selfishness. They are stewardship of what I have entrusted to you. A gardener does not allow weeds to overrun the flowers. A watchman does not permit strangers to wander freely at night. So it is with you. You must guard your heart with vigilance. When you know how to say no at the right time, the love within you remains whole enough to say yes to what I truly send. Imagine your life as a river. If you let anyone and everyone drink from it without discernment, soon the waters will be muddy, then dry. But if you build banks, filter and preserve, that river will flow endlessly, pure and abundant. You are that river I have set in motion, and I want you to protect it. When you keep its source pure, others will drink and live, and you yourself will be renewed. But when you allow those who only wish to drain and pollute it, the river loses its beauty. Tonight I awaken you, not to frighten you, but to make you alert. The enemy will try again, yes he will. But this time, when he sends appearances that seem good to deceive you, will recognize them sooner. You will hear the unrest within, and have the courage to close the door before the draining begins. You will no longer confuse love with over-sacrifice, and as you walk in this wisdom, you will be free. You will have strength to fulfill what I call you to, no longer bound by invisible chains. Listen closely, for this is what you must engrave deep in your soul. You were never created to be the source for everyone. You do not bear the role of the Savior. You are not the safe harbor for every soul that drifts by. You are not the medicine for all the wounds of the world. That belongs to me alone. Only I can carry such a weight. You have forgotten this many times, and in forgetting you have become drained because you placed yourself in a place that was never yours. I know you have strained to become a pillar for others until you had no place to lean yourself. You tried everything so no one would leave, so they would feel safe, so they would believe you were enough. But in doing so, you became a bottomless well where everyone came to draw, yet no one poured back even a drop. You thought true love was always saying yes, but the truth is love also knows when to say no. True love does not kill peace, does not make you doubt yourself, does not push you away from my embrace. You once believed you had to give all, bear all, do all in order to prove your worth. That was the most subtle lie the enemy sowed in you. He whispered, "If you do not give more, they will leave you. If you do not endure more, you will never be worthy of love." And you believed him. You let yourself become endlessly enduring, sacrificing to the point of collapse, hoping for a fragile affection in return. But my child, I declare to you, your worth is not measured by your strain or endurance. It was set by me before you ever drew your first breath. From the moment I knit you in your mother's womb, you bore my mark. No rejection from man can erase that seal. No betrayal can dim the truth that you belong to me. But the enemy knows that if he can make you forget this, you will bury yourself in the whirlpool of exhaustion. He cannot steal you from my hand, but he can persuade you that you are worthless. And once you believe that you live in fear, in anxiety of being replaced, in the crushing need to do more to keep what was never yours to begin with, I want you to understand that love does not mean becoming a victim of exploitation. Love does not mean allowing others to drain the life out of you. Love does not mean accepting mistreatment just to preserve a relationship. That is not love, that is bondage. And when you endure in silence, you allow darkness to use the name of love to shackle your soul. But I have come to break those chains. I have come so you may be free, so you may live abundantly, so you may walk in light and not in unending weariness. Do you remember the times when your spirit gave you a warning, yet you brushed it aside for fear of losing someone? There were moments when your heart urged you to say no, but your lips reluctantly whispered yes. You thought you were sacrificing for love, yet in truth you were trading away the peace I had given you. That peace is not for anyone else to take unless you hand it over yourself. I did not give you peace so you could throw it into the hands of those who refuse to grow, but so it might keep you standing firm in the storm. The enemy once succeeded because he convinced you that your worth must be proven through endless giving. You believed that unconditional forgiveness meant offering unlimited chances. But the truth is that forgiveness does not mean allowing others to keep harming you. Forgiveness frees the heart from bitterness, yet boundaries protect the heart from repeated wounds. Without boundaries, you become open ground, where others may sow any seed they please, even seeds of destruction. Remember this: love begins with honoring the life I placed within you. I commanded, love your neighbor as yourself. That means before you can love others, you must first cherish yourself, the temple of my dwelling. If you let your soul be drained dry, you will have nothing left to give. If you neglect the well within you, the fountain of life will wither away, and not only you will suffer loss, but even those I truly sent to receive blessings through you will be deprived. Stop trying to prove your worth. You do not need to carry burdens in order to be loved. You do not need to sacrifice to the point of self-destruction just to hold on to someone. Those whom I send will recognize your worth without you striving to prove it. They will honor you, cherish you, and walk with you, not merely take from you. Relationships from me will bear fruit. They will not leave you barren. And when you dare to step out of exploitation, you will begin to see clearly the difference between what is false and what is true. Do not be afraid when you must say no. Do not feel guilty for choosing peace over a relationship that destroys you. The truth is, I delight when you guard the treasure within. I have not called you to be an endless supplier, but a faithful steward. Faithful stewardship is not about giving without limit, but about using love, time, and strength according to my holy intent. When you learn this, you will walk in true freedom. You do not need to prove your value by enduring disregard. You do not need to remain in connections that diminish who you are destined to be. You do not need to keep pouring into those who refuse to grow. It is time to stop letting yourself be a source for those unwilling to change. It is time to say, enough. It is time to let me be the only one who carries every soul while you remain faithful to the calling I placed uniquely upon you. In that freedom you will rediscover joy, long-lost peace faded and vision blurred. When I said love your neighbor as yourself, it was not only a command to direct love outward, but also a reminder that you too are worthy of love and honor. You often think self-love is selfish, but in truth, guarding the life I placed in you is part of obedience. If you do not learn to protect your soul, your heart, and your mind, how can you truly love others? I never asked you to be a giver to the point of depletion, but a faithful steward wisely, using the life entrusted to you. Reflect on this. True love never demands self-destruction. I never required you to trade away your peace just to sustain a broken bond. Love does not mean opening the door to those who only exploit. It does not mean letting yourself be worn down while the other refuses to change. That is not love, it is dependency, a sweet imprisonment crafted by the enemy to trick you into mistaking it for kindness. But I tell you, this kindness is not permitting darkness to extinguish the flame within you. There are things you must let go of, not because they are small, but because they are silently killing your soul day by day. You find yourself growing weaker, joy slipping away, no longer yearning to pray or seek me. That is the sign you are walking the wrong path. I have called you to abundant life, yet you accept a withering existence only out of fear of losing someone. Remember this: if that love is truly from me, it will uplift and bear fruit, not drain you, and leave widening emptiness in your heart. Your heart is a treasure, a deep well from which flows all the issues of life. Therefore I say, guard it above all else. If you allow anyone to enter freely, soon the well will be polluted, muddied, and finally run dry. Do not confuse generosity with recklessness. Do not believe that opening yourself to all is the same as loving as I love. I love humanity, but I also set boundaries to guard holiness. If I choose with care, how much more should you, my child made in my image, guard your own heart? Some people you have met were never meant to stay. They were only temporary instruments, or more truly tools the enemy used to test and distract you. I allowed them not because they were the answer, but because I wanted you to learn discernment. You thought they were companions, but I saw them as fleeting clouds, never intending to journey with you to the end. They came drained, your energy left you confused, then vanished. That was not your failure, but the reality of a world where the false always exists alongside the true. Understand this: no matter how deeply you love them, your love cannot change the mission they carry. You may pray, you may sacrifice, but if their hearts are full of resistance and pride, your efforts will only wear you down. You cannot save what refuses to be saved. You cannot heal a wound someone insists on keeping. You tried to pull them from the fire, yet they ran back into it, for that was their choice. And I, the one who sees all, had to cut them off, lest you be burned as well. The reason I removed those people is that I will never allow the fire I placed in you to be extinguished. That fire is your calling, your mission, the light meant to shine in darkness. If you keep those who dwell in darkness too close, they will drain you until your light fades. I could not let that happen, so I lifted them out of your life, even though it made you weep, hurt, and question. But I know better to suffer once and heal than to be drained day after day until nothing remains to restore. I want you to learn to love yourself as an act of obedience to me. When you step away from what kills your soul, you not only save yourself but also honor the life I gave you. When you say no to abuse, you agree with truth. When you guard the flame within you, preserve blessing for the many I will send to you in the future. For your light is not just for yourself, it is to shine upon those still sitting in darkness. You may think you are only guarding your heart, but in truth you are protecting an entire generation that will be touched by the light within you. Do not belittle the calling I have placed upon your shoulders. Do not trade it away simply to hold on to someone who was never worthy to walk beside you. Remember, if you allow yourself to be drained, you will not only lose yourself, but you will delay my mission through you. That price is far too great to pay. That is why I will not permit anyone to extinguish the flame within you. I love you too much to stand by and watch you wither. It is time for you to rise and declare to yourself, I am worthy of true love. I am worthy of peace. I am worthy of a radiant future in the one who created me. When you begin to love yourself this way, you will see that the love you offer others will also become pure. You will no longer give in order to gain acceptance, but you will give because you are already overflowing. You will no longer cling to those who do not belong to you, but you will release them to preserve your peace. You will no longer fear loneliness, for you will know that I am always with you, and I will bring into your life relationships that truly bear fruit. Walk with this conviction. What I remove is never a loss but protection. What I close is never an end but preparation for a new beginning. Let your heart rest in my everlasting love, and believe that the flame within you will never die out, for I, myself, am the one who sustains its light until the day of completion. I will never allow the mission I have placed upon your life to be hindered by those who were never meant to journey with you. You may have thought they were meant to be your support, but in reality they were only weights slowing your steps. You wept when they left. You trembled at the emptiness they left behind. You whispered in the night that perhaps you were a failure unworthy to be kept, but today I reveal the truth: they never belonged to you. They came only to take, to drain, to bring you low, and once their purpose was finished, they left. You mistook their presence for my will. But from now on, I open your eyes to see that not everyone who enters your life shares the same direction. Some come only as merchants. They arrive to bargain, to measure, to take what they desire and vanish once no benefit remains. Your heart was designed by me to love unconditionally, but you forgot that true love must dwell within holiness. You handed the keys of your heart to those who could not keep them, and they shattered the mirror where I had engraved your image. You wondered why you were so easily wounded, not realizing that the enemy had set a snare, sending hands that seemed warm, but sought only to destroy. I do not blame you, for I know you only long to love and to be loved. But I need you to understand, love does not mean surrendering yourself unconditionally to those who are unworthy. I have called you to walk in strength, not to crawl in exhaustion. You were not created to be a supply for all, but to reflect my light in the relationships I have ordained. Yes, you may sacrifice, you may give, but that sacrifice will never leave you empty, for when it is born of my will, I myself will restore you abundantly. You once gave and returned with empty hands, but from now on I teach you this: when I call you to love someone, their presence will bear fruit in your life. It may be fresh joy, deep peace, renewed strength, or a blessing you had never imagined. This is the essential difference between what I send and what the enemy sends. Those whom I place in your life will not drain you, they will refresh you. They will not exhaust your source, but water you so that you may flourish and bear fruit. They will not consume you, but will walk with you in mutual support, building faith together, moving together toward the light. You will recognize their presence because after being with them, your heart will be at peace, your mind will be clear, and your spirit strengthened. But those who come only to take will leave you with unrest, confusion, and heaviness. That is the clear sign by which you may discern if only you will listen. You must remember, the calling on your life is too important to be delayed simply because you cling to someone who does not belong to you. The delay of holding on to the wrong connection may cost you precious opportunities in my journey for you. I do not want you bound to a rusted anchor when I have prepared a vessel for the open sea. Your time on earth is finite, and I will not allow waste to continue. You have lost years in what was fruitless, but from now on, I want you to walk in wisdom so that every step carries eternal worth. This does not mean you will never be called to love those who cannot return it. There will be times when I call you to reach out to the weak, to lift the fallen, to pray for those still in darkness. But the difference is, in those moments, I, myself, will lift you up, so you are not drained by your giving. I will pour fresh oil into your vessel, so that each time you pour out, you will still have abundance. For when your love flows from me, you will never run dry. I will be your source, and you will be the channel through which life flows. Picture this: a tree planted in good soil, watered by pure streams, will bear fruit in season. It may offer shade, fragrant flowers, sweet fruit, yet its roots remain deep in the waters, and it never withers. So it is with you. When you remain in me, you will give without fear of depletion, for I am the inexhaustible source. But if you root yourself in barren ground, no matter how hard you strive, the leaves will wither, the branches will break, and the tree itself will die. This is the difference between loving from your own will and loving according to my sending. You once believed that love must accept all things, even being trampled. But I tell you, true love does not tolerate destruction. True love protects, builds, and bears fruit. You once thought that the more you sacrificed, the more your worth would be proven. But the truth is, your worth is not measured by how much you are consumed, but by me, the one who created you. You do not need to prove it with blood and tears, for you have already been valued by the blood of my Son on the cross. So do not fear when someone leaves you. Do not think their departure diminishes your worth. Do not believe you were abandoned because you are undeserving. The truth is, I am removing the weight so you can walk more lightly. I am freeing you from chains so you can run your race with endurance. And I am preparing to place beside you those who will not only take but also give, not only lean but also lift. These are the ones who belong in your journey, the ones who will help fulfill the calling I have placed upon you. When that day comes, you will see the clear difference. You will know that relationships from me always bring peace even in trials. You will see that those I send do not weary you but strengthen you. You will experience love not merely in words but in faithful actions, in true presence, in the sincere sharing of burdens. And you will understand that every tear you once shed was only preparing the way for the season of blessing to come. Remember this: the enemy will continue to set traps. He will send other faces, other sweet words, other appearances that seem like answers. But this time you will be different. You will sense the unrest within from the beginning. You will hear the whisper of warning in your spirit. You will recognize the signs of draining, and you will not open the door. For now you know that you are not called to live in exhaustion, but to live in abundance. Beloved, you will no longer ask, "Am I lovable?" For you will know with certainty that you have been loved with an everlasting love. You will no longer try to prove your worth, for you will walk in the assurance that your value has already been sealed by me. You will no longer fear abandonment, for you will understand that anyone who can leave was never truly yours. And at last you will taste true freedom, the freedom to love, the freedom to give, without the fear of being consumed by toxic bonds. I call you to walk in strength. I call you to live in fullness. I call you into relationships of mutuality where love is not a one-way stream but a river with two banks nourishing each other. And in that very fullness you shall shine brighter than ever before, for my light within you will no longer be obscured, no longer drained, but will radiate in wholeness for the world to behold. Therefore, my beloved child, guard the wellspring of your life. It is not an ordinary well, but the fountain I placed within you from the very beginning, the source from which life, peace, and light flow. A well left unattended can easily be defiled, carelessly drawn from by strangers until the pure stream becomes clouded and murky. I do not want that to happen to you. For once the spiritual well within you is polluted, you not only lose vitality but also find it difficult to pour out to those whom I have truly sent to be strengthened through you. Know this: not everyone has the right to come near and drink from the life you carry. Some come only to satisfy selfish thirst, drinking hastily and leaving you desolate within. They care nothing for the cost to you. They only seek to fill the lack inside themselves. Many times you have allowed this thinking that love meant limitless openness. But I teach you this: love is not permitting others to drain the very life within you. Love is giving with discernment under my guidance, so that love may bear fruit, not be exhausted and buried. Test the spirits. Do not trust every outward appearance. There are those whose words are sweet but whose hearts are decayed. There are those who wear a cloak of kindness but whose inner motives are only calculation. You may hear their voices, but I see their hearts. That is why I counsel you, ask me about each person who enters your life. Do not rely merely on fleeting feelings, nor on signs that seem reasonable. Feelings can deceive, signs can be counterfeit, but my voice is always true. If you learn to inquire of me, I will show you plainly who has come to build you, and who has come to deplete you. Watch them, do not rush to trust their promises. Look at how they live, how they treat others, how they value what they already possess. One who cannot keep the blessings they've received, how could they cherish you? One accustomed to despising grace will sooner or later despise even the love you give. I teach you discernment, not so you may doubt everyone, but so you may distinguish the true from the false. Listen to your soul after being with them. Do you feel peace or unrest? Are you refreshed or burdened? Do you sense light spreading or quiet shadows settling in? These are the very signals I send to you. Yet you must be willing to listen, for the enemy is skilled at disguise. He does not first bring obvious evil, for he knows you would reject it. Instead, he offers what seems good but lacks my essence. Like fruit that looks ripe outwardly but is rotten inside. He knows you await a gift from me, so he sends a counterfeit, hoping you grasp it hastily. And when you cling to the false, your hands are no longer free to receive the true gift I have prepared. You must understand the counterfeit often comes before the genuine. That has long been his strategy. He hopes you grow weary enough to settle for the near imitation instead of patiently awaiting what is truly from me. He wants you to believe this is all you deserve, so that when the real one arrives, your heart is already closed. He wants you entangled so long in toxic ties that when I send the true one, you no longer believe in love. You will tell yourself, everything is the same, no one is sincere. And thus unknowingly, you refuse the gift I set before you. My child, do not let this happen. Do not let your heart become a graveyard of buried hopes when I have prepared a radiant garden for you to dwell in. Be patient, be watchful. Do not hastily hand over your keys to anyone simply because they arrive in your weakness. Look closely, do they draw you nearer to me or subtly pull you away? Do they uplift your soul or only cause you to doubt yourself? Do they ignite your light or dim it? These are the questions you must bring to me, and I will answer through the apartnadia bibel arcton, peace within your heart. If, after being with someone, you feel lighter, encouraged in faith, your spirit stirred to worship, this is the sign of my presence. But if you feel weary, heavy, and your peace disappears, then you must step away. You cannot save everyone. You cannot heal every wound. You are called to walk in obedience and give love within the boundaries I set. Outside of those boundaries, love turns into dependency, and dependency into chains. The enemy is adept at twisting your exhaustion into distorted thoughts. When tired, you are prone to believe lies. When drained, you are quick to think I have abandoned you. He knows this, so he schemes to deplete you until you have no strength left to hear my voice. That is why I command you, guard the well within you. Do not allow just anyone to drink from it. Share the life you carry with wisdom so the well remains pure, full, and able to flow for the right ones at the right time under my guidance. Remember, the true will come. I never promised you must settle for the temporary. I never destined you for shallow living. My love for you is eternal, and when I send the true one, they will reflect some measure of that love. They will not be perfect, but they will uplift instead of deplete. They will pray with you instead of only demanding. They will make you feel cherished rather than dismissed. And you will know, for after being with them, you will sense a deep peace, the peace the world cannot give nor take away. Therefore, keep your heart soft yet wise. Be open yet discerning. Love, but do not allow yourself to be exploited. Give, but only under the Spirit's leading. Remember, you are not the source, I am the source. You are the well containing the life I pour in, and you must guard it. If you let anyone draw freely, it will run dry. But if you let me guide you, it will remain ever full, for I am the one who overflows with eternal life. And when you learn to guard your well, you will no longer fear counterfeits. You will no longer tremble before empty, sweet words. You will no longer fear deception, for you know that peace is the true sign. When you abide in me, no matter how many imitations the enemy sends, none can deceive you. You will stand firm, for the light within you is stronger than the darkness around you. You will be steadfast, for my love for you never shifts. And above all, you will be free to live in truth, to love in truth, to walk fully in the calling I have placed upon you. I am making you wiser each day, each step. Not the wisdom of this world, burdened, suspicious, and calculating, but the wisdom of the Spirit, the light that lets you see beneath the surface into the true essence within. Once you were easily deceived by sweet promises, easy smiles, and gestures that seemed like care, but now I am teaching you to recognize not everything that looks like love is true love. Some come to drain, some to test, and even false blessings come to mislead. Wisdom is to discern what is from me and what is from the enemy, so your soul is no longer deceived by lies dressed in truth. I do not blame you for the times you were mistaken. You gave love from a pure place within you, and that was not wrong. But I do not want you to remain caught in the same old cycle, allowing yourself to be drained until you can no longer breathe. I want you to learn that love does not mean opening the door for anyone to enter the innermost chambers of your heart. You must understand that this heart is my sanctuary, the temple where I dwell. Therefore, not everyone is worthy to step inside. The one who truly comes from me will honor that holy presence, but the one sent by the enemy will only seek to take and then abandon. Wisdom is the courage to stop before you allow yourself to be wounded further. Courage itself is also a gift I am giving you. In the past, you often felt guilty whenever you wanted to walk away from a relationship that was draining your soul. You thought you were selfish, that you did not love enough, that you should sacrifice just a little more. But the truth is that not every departure is selfishness. Some departures are steps of obedience. When you separate yourself from what harms you, you are not rejecting love, you are preserving it so that it can still flow to the right person, the right place, and the right time. The right relationship will not leave you weary and despairing, but will strengthen you, make you brave, and cause you to shine brighter. Guarding your energy is not an act of selfish closure, but of wise stewardship. I have placed within you a wellspring of life, and you are called to be a faithful steward of it. A wise steward does not allow anyone to squander the master's treasure. Likewise, you must not permit anyone to drain your strength. Only when you protect that sacred energy will you be able to walk steadfastly in your calling. But if you allow yourself to be depleted, you will have nothing left to give, and your life's purpose will be delayed. When you stop giving yourself unconditionally to toxic connections, you will discover something. You will have greater strength to fulfill the things I have ordained for you. Suddenly you will find prayer easier, your spirit more joyful, your soul more resilient. You will hear my voice resonate clearly within your mind instead of being choked by lies. You will have discernment to recognize when I open a door, and the wisdom to shut it when you realize it is not from me. And it is in this cleansed space that you will have room to receive the people who truly belong in your life. Those I send will be completely different from those who only exploit. They will not wear you down but refresh you. They will not leave you praying alone in exhaustion, but will join hands with you in prayer. They will not depend only on your encouragement, but will also be sources of encouragement for you. They will not love you merely for what you can do for them, but for the very essence I have placed within you. They will see your worth even when you do not prove it. They will cherish your presence even when you are not striving to carry burdens. Believe this, such people truly exist, and I am the one who will bring them to you. But for you to recognize them, you must first let go of what is false. You cannot hold on to draining relationships while expecting renewal. You cannot cling to the past while receiving the future. You cannot grasp what the enemy has sent while stepping into what I have prepared. Wisdom is knowing when to stop, when to release, and when to open your heart. Do not fear loss, for in truth you lose nothing but depletion. Do not fear loneliness, for solitude in me is fuller than crowds without me. Do not fear the judgment of others, for your worth has been determined by me from eternity. Once you believe this, you will no longer exhaust yourself trying to prove your value. You will no longer chase those who cannot see your true worth. You will no longer be drained by relationships that only take. Instead, you will walk in abundance, in joy, and in true peace. Understand this: you were not born to do everything for everyone, but you are called to complete the work I have entrusted to you. If you scatter yourself everywhere, you will have no strength for what matters most. But if you hold boundaries, discern wisely, and steward the life I have given you, will grow stronger. You will walk in freedom, no longer chained to the need to prove yourself. You will stand firm in the world knowing your value comes from me, not from anyone else. My child, wisdom is not only seeing the truth but acting upon it. Courage is not only knowing you must let go but daring to release. True love is not only giving but also protecting it from being misused. I am teaching you these things so that you no longer live in cycles of exhaustion but walk in the abundant life I have promised. Beloved child, I need you to believe this truth: you are worthy of a love far different from what you have known. You were not created for fragments, for broken promises, for pieces of affection easily forgotten. You were created for a love that is faithful, enduring, and reflective of my very nature. Such love does not make you tremble with fear of abandonment, nor confuse you with exploitation, nor demand your peace in exchange for fragile presence. It is a love that sustains, uplifts, refreshes your soul, and draws you closer to me. You must believe this is real, and that I am the one who will bring it into your life at the right time. You have doubted many times whether you are worthy. Old wounds have convinced you that you deserve only broken love, fleeting companions, or being a backdrop in someone else's story. But I tell you, all those lies must be cast out now. You are worthy not because you are flawless, but because I sealed your value from the very beginning. You deserve love in the way I have ordained, for I have bestowed upon you eternal dignity. Do not let anyone or any circumstance define you below that truth. You must believe that letting go of what drains you is not failure but preparation for my promises fulfilled. You still think leaving them means loss, but in reality, you are making way for true gifts. You are like one clinging to a room full of broken belongings, afraid of emptiness. But you do not see that when you clear the space, I will fill it with what is new, beautiful, and lasting. If you refuse to release, there will never be room for blessing. Therefore, I call you out of dependency, so your hands may be free to receive what I have prepared. The enemy seeks to drain you into silence. He wants your praise stifled your prayers, dried your joy foreign to you. But I, the living one, will not allow this. I am turning emptiness into overflowing until living waters pour from within you, nourishing not only yourself but refreshing those around you. You will no longer live in thirst but in abundance, no longer depleted but a giver because I have filled you. He seeks to surround you with takers. But look, I am surrounding you with those who know how to give, to share, to walk alongside. I did not design you to pour out in solitude. I destined you to dwell among those who share your heartbeat, your longing, your direction toward the light. They will not drag you down but lift you up. They will not suffocate you but renew you. Believe that such true relationships are near, for I have ordained them, and I never break my promise. The enemy wants to convince you that every relationship is exhausting. He wants you to close your heart tightly to believe that no one is truly sincere anymore, but I will prove the opposite. I will show you that sacred friendship is real, that pure love is real, that the bond of the Holy Spirit is real. The relationships I have destined for you will revive you, not wither you. They will become the evidence that I have never abandoned you, and that my love always finds a way to manifest through the right people at the right time in the right place. Therefore, let go of those who were sent only to drain you. If needed, pray for them from afar, but do not maintain attachments that leave you empty. Do not allow your soul to be bound by cords that only pull you downward. For if you continue, you will lose clarity, and you will no longer have the strength to recognize what is true when it comes. Trust me, letting go is not failure. Letting go is victory, the victory of freedom, of obedience, of trust. Guard the well I have placed within you. Do not let anyone carelessly come and pollute its waters. Learn to test all things, to discern what is true and false, and to hold fast to what is good. For your well does not only nourish you, but it also refreshes many other souls. If it becomes tainted, the life within you will wither, and those around you will no longer be refreshed by its pure flow. I call you to remain awake, to guard that well with wisdom and with my very presence. The lamp within you must always burn bright. Do not let it be hidden by disappointment. Do not let it be extinguished by the hand of one who comes with evil intent. I have placed the flame within you, and I expect you to continue to tend it. Feed it with my word, with prayer, with communion. And remember, not everyone who comes near the light seeks warmth. Some come seeking to extinguish it. Do not naively believe that all are sincere. Be watchful but not fearful. Discern but do not close yourself off. Remain awake but let the light continue to shine through you. In my presence, you will not lose your way. When you take refuge in me, you will see more clearly what is true and what is false. You will walk in wisdom and will not easily be caught in the snares of the enemy. You will be led into relationships that build you up, strengthen you, and help you grow in grace. You will be placed in a community that honors me, not one that glorifies darkness. You will know what it means to be loved, to be cherished, to be safeguarded, not in the half-hearted ways of men, but in the way I have ordained. And in the end, you will be able to rest. Stop striving, stop trying to prove yourself, stop chasing after what I have already taken away. The battle for your heart is not yours alone to fight, it is my battle. I have already won. The enemy no longer has authority over your soul. Wounds are not your final definition. The past is no longer your chain. Rest in this victory. Let me cover you, teach you, and lead you into a radiant future. For my love for you is a love that never fades. My child, when you release, you do not fall into an endless void. You fall into my arms. When you accept that the past cannot be changed, you open the door for newness to seep in like early rain upon dry ground. Then one morning you will find you are no longer counting heartbeats just to make it through the day. You will see that time is no longer an enemy but a gentle companion. You will realize that what once seemed ordinary is in fact a daily miracle. The warmth of your hand upon your chest in prayer, the whisper I know in an empty room, the steady courage when you look into your own eyes in the mirror. You will understand that the journey through darkness has not diminished your beauty. It has trained your eyes to see deeper and your heart to beat slower at the right moment. Believe this as surely as you believe the sun will rise. Leaving behind yesterday is not an end, but the beginning of another season. The old season was full of shadows, the new one carries sunlight. The old was winding, the new is straight and wide. The old consumed, the new multiplies. I do not promise that the new road will have no climbs, but I guarantee that every step will bear my footprints beside yours. When you are weary, lean on my shoulder. When you fall, I lift you. When you stray, I call you. When you weep, I wipe your tears. And when you arrive, you will understand that every twist and turn served a purpose to deepen the roots of faith, to broaden your vision, to stretch the capacity of your love. Now perform a simple act that carries the weight of a sacred ritual. Place your hand over your heart, take a deep breath, and softly say, I release what does not belong to me. I receive what comes from you. That phrase, repeated in silence, becomes the drumbeat leading the army of peace into the city. You do not need to explain to anyone, nor do you need to win every argument. Truth stands firm without noise. Sleep after saying it as one who has returned unwanted belongings and cleared the room for new furnishings. And if in a dream you find yourself crossing a strange threshold, do not fear. It is the image of what is to come, light, resting on your hair, gentle footsteps, warm palms. Tonight I bless you with rest as tender as a blanket dried in the sun. I give you a new name, one woven with hope and not with fear. I commit to being here each morning at midday, at dusk, and even in the deepest night. No one can extinguish what I have lit. No one can erase what I have written. No one can take away what I have given. And you, beloved, beyond what you ever imagined, rest now. Leave the rest to me. When the sun calls you awake, you will find the doorstep dry, the clouds thin, the wind clean, and a straight path running ahead where new life waits with outstretched hands. Now incline your heart, pour out every plea and every praise, that your Father in heaven may receive the honesty within you. Almighty God, you who see into the depths of my soul today, I come not with strength but with weakness in need of healing. You know how weary I have grown from relationships that have drained my spirit. You have seen how many times I struggled to hold on to what you yourself had taken away. I ask you to grant me clear eyes to discern those whom you have appointed from those whom the enemy has planted. Let the Holy Spirit give me the courage to say no to what is not from you, and yes to what is from you. Remind me that my worth does not rest in human hands but in your eternal love. Strengthen my trembling steps, that I may walk in the calling you have given me without delay, without depletion, but filled with new strength. Mighty God, today, I ask for one simple yet profound thing, that you would not allow me to lose my calling because of people who do not walk the same path. Open my ears to hear your warning when the enemy lays a snare. Open my eyes to see clearly what is false and what is true. When I must love those who do not return it, give me strength so I do not run dry, for you alone are the inexhaustible source. Teach me that love does not mean surrender and sacrifice does not mean loss. I long for my life to be a testimony of your wisdom and love, not a stage for the enemy's manipulation. Merciful Father, you know well the wounds I carry. Many times I have asked why, but today I see that you have been protecting me from what I could not see. I do not want to cling anymore to what you have closed off. Pour your wisdom into my mind, that I may no longer mistake true love for exploitation. Grant me the strength to release without regret and the peace to stand firm when a door shuts. You have called me to walk in fullness. Do not let me return to the cycle of depletion. Lead me into connections that bear fruit and teach my heart to rest in your love. Almighty God, I lift my eyes in gratitude that you have not left me in darkness. Thank you for removing from my life the connections that only drained me even when I did not understand and wept over them. Thank you for seeing what I could not and for intervening to protect my soul. I am grateful that your love never changes even when I place my heart in the wrong hands. I thank you for teaching me to discern true from false and for promising to place in my life those who bear fruit. Let this gratitude strengthen my faith so that each day I may walk in hope. Loving Father, I thank you for turning what the enemy meant for harm into opportunities for wisdom. I thank you that my past is no longer a chain but a precious lesson. I thank you that one-sided relationships have taught me the true value of mutuality. I thank you that your love never exhausts me but always renews me. I thank you that you remind me that peace is the clear measure of what comes from you. Let my heart never grow cold in gratitude, that each day I may live as one who has been rescued and upheld. Eternal God, I thank you that you have shown me that letting go is not loss but stepping into new life. Thank you for transforming my perspective from despair to hope, from fear to trust. I am grateful that you have preserved my calling even when I was drained by misguided hands. I praise you that you not only heal but also prepare blessings beyond my imagination. Receive this gratitude as an offering, for I believe you deserve to be exalted through everything that has come into my life. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we may build a strong community of faith.